to me, it wouldn't have been fair to bury this team or question this team based off of the way that they played from June on, ironically enough, last year. From June on through the postseason. Even despite my gut beliefs, my core beliefs about this team, I gave them the benefit of the doubt because I felt that they earned it. And here they are now on the verge of an epic collapse and fully embarrassing themselves and the fan base yet again. And if they don't get it turned around tonight, because now it's back home, like minimum, they got to win this series 2 out of 3. There's no reason to believe in this team. They look like a dead team walking right now. Obviously, they've lost 6 straight. Could that change? Sure. But if they don't get it changed around now, then I think there have to be massive, massive changes with the infrastructure and the core of this team that was so successful a year ago.
Sal, there's a lot of teams that play poorly over the course of a 162-game season. We've even seen it with the Yankees and other, good teams around baseball. There's a lot of teams that play poorly for a long stretch around baseball, even teams that are good or supposed to be good. There's not that many teams that play poorly for this long that were supposed to be good that really don't look like they care. The Mets don't look like they care.
I think some of them do, but they're clearly not playing together as a team.
I mean, you see those at-bats in the last inning? You want to talk about going down without even putting your fist in front of your face. Strike three, strike three, strike three.
Oh, dude, you had 25 in a row retired.
God almighty.
I don't know if I can't say that. Like, I'm not going to argue it. I don't know if care is the right word to use. Like, you don't think Brandon Nimmo cares if they win or lose? I really do believe certain guys. I even think Lindor cares if they win or lose. I just don't think that they're to me, they're crumbling to the pressure. They're not having fun. They can't handle the expectations. They're trying not to lose. They're playing scared. They're just they're waiting for the win to happen. They think they're better than they are. Like, there's a lot of issues. I don't know if care is the right word or not. Maybe it is. Either way, it's unacceptable. And even if they do get into the playoffs as the third wild card and sneak their way in somehow, it's still unacceptable. Big picture, this is not what it was supposed to be this year. So, yeah, they could say, and I could say that everything's still possible. They could get into the postseason and go on. Yeah, they could. There's no reason to believe that's going to happen now. But also that even if they do back in, this is not the type of baseball that Steve Cohen should be expecting from this team. And I guarantee you he's not happy about it either. I don't think anybody's happy about it, but they better figure out a way to turn it around quick. Otherwise, it's going to get real ugly.
I don't say it is ugly. What do you mean it's going to get ugly? It is ugly. He's lost 4 games to the Phillies, Sal.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give the Mets credit in this regard. At least last night you got to watch a different movie. At least the Mets had the kindness to give their long-suffering, awesome fans a different script. Instead of coming out and getting beaten to a bloody pulp from the get-go, the Mets at least pretended for a little bit to be interested. They put up a couple of runs, and then they went to sleep. So at least it was a different, same result, same ending, but at least it was a bit of a different script. Dude, this is repulsive. I mean, really, and I remember saying a while ago, man, I don't like McNeil in center field. And when you're scuffling, Sal, these little things add up. When it's a 1-run game, it's a 2-run game, when the offense isn't there, when the relief pitching spotty, when the starters aren't giving you depth. In a tie, I think at that point it was 4-3 or 4-4. McNeil took not 1, not 2, 3 steps in. He didn't misplay that by an inch. He misplayed it by 2 feet. And that is one of the and it's not just McNeil, but to me that's emblematic of who the Mets are. They've got too many guys either playing the wrong spot, not playing well enough, not doing their job. And Mendoza said it last night. I'll give him credit for saying it. But those words are going to follow him to the end of the season. He said, it is my job to turn this around. And we will. It's my job. But if we don't, it's on me. You're right, it's on you. You're the manager, okay? They gave you a lot of talent. We could debate whether or not that talent's slightly overrated, leadership, all those things sound like it really for this entire season. I got it. I like Mendoza. He could be good. Right now, he's the captain of the Titanic, and it's his job to fix it. And if it doesn't get fixed, you got to blow it all up.
I think it's a great point because they should be, we could nitpick the talent all day long and say that this guy's not good enough and Stearns, and we will get to Stearns because to me he's the biggest culprit. Didn't build a team with good enough, certainly the pitching staff, all that stuff, playing McNeil out of position and getting away with it until you didn't in a crucial spot. But they, no matter what, however we could debate that, bare minimum, they should be a playoff team. That's not saying anything great. Hey, You made the playoffs as a 6 seed. Like, that's not good enough by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
However, they still should do that, and that is on the manager to figure this out because they're not this bad. Nobody's this bad. Like, especially them, with that payroll, with that talent, they shouldn't be this bad, losing 6 straight with 3 weeks to go in the regular season while you're trying to get a playoff spot. Like, they're not this bad.
They might be.
No.
Let me tell you why, though.
Come on.
And again, for when you play the way they played for 4 months, you kind of are what you are.
But they just swept the Phillies 2 weeks ago.
I understand that, but
they just beat the Tigers.
I know that they've won.
Like, that's the sport. So.
I know. There's a lot of. It's a very weird season. I get that, and the Mets aren't the only team that are going through the ups and downs. But the Mets are the only team that is good or supposed to be good or is kind of good that is less than 40% winning. Last night they went under. They're now. Well, you saw the stat. Everybody sees the stat every night since June 13th. The Twins, the other teams, the Rockies, the White Sox. By losing last night, the Mets are now below the 40% winning threshold since June 13th. So they're winning 39% of the games, which tells me they're not that good, Sal.
Yeah, but you have to count the other months as well.
I'm not saying that you don't.
They were literally the best team in baseball.
And now they're one of the worst. So
okay,
which was longer, the 2 months or the 4 months?
All I'm saying is they're not as bad as losing 6 straight. Like, even the worst teams win a game here or there. They should bare minimum. You could say they're not very good, and that's fine. You could say everybody could look at the numbers and say the same thing. Are the Reds that good? Are the Giants that good? Are we just which month or week are we going to pick that say that those teams are good?
Well, but hold on a second. It's a different evaluation. At least it is for me, and it should be for everybody. I mean, the Reds have $118 million payroll.
Right. I'm not saying that.
But we know 3 guys on their team. The Giants were sellers at the deadline, and they've suddenly found a way to regenerate this. Like, where the Mets are wallowing right now is just
but you think
unacceptable territory on every measurement.
Understood. I'm not disagreeing with that. All I'm saying is they're not this bad to a point where they shouldn't be a playoff team. That's unacceptable. They shouldn't be losing 6 in a row. They're at their worst still better than the Giants and the Reds. Now, that's not saying anything. It's not saying they're good. It's not saying they're great. It's saying that they, at the bare minimum, should be a playoff team. The bigger picture issue for me is that they're not at their core, in my opinion, good enough. It's why I was disappointed in the trade deadline where everybody else was giving flowers to Brian Cashman and David Stearns. I was not. I thought both needed more. I thought the Mets needed to change things up. I told you months ago I would have traded Nimmo, proactively tried to trade Brandon Nimmo, in McNeil in the offseason, all this stuff. You had to give them the benefit of the doubt because of what they did a year ago, but now they're again folding, much like they did the same core in 2022, and to me that's unacceptable. But that's a different conversation than are they good enough to get in the postseason, because all the stuff that you just said, even with losing 6 in a row, they still have a playoff spot, and there's still 15 games to go. So very easily they could be a playoff team. Again, that's not throwing flowers. That's not saying, hey, great job, guys.
I get the difference. I hear you.
Do you think they're really this bad? You think they're 6 in a row bad, and they're the Giants and Reds are better?
Honestly, I don't think that they're this bad.
Okay.
I don't. I'm not trying to be unfair to the conference. I don't think that they're this bad, but I also don't think that they're that good.
Right.
So the answer's kind of in between. Like, listen, I'm not watching the Giants every night. I know who they traded at the deadline. I know what they got. I know with Devers. Same with the Cincinnati Reds. Small
look at their record.
Yeah. But the record's not always emblematic of who you are. I mean, because think about this. The Mets still have a record that's decent, but, I don't think the Mets are as good as maybe you do. So the record to me, we both look at the win column, we see 76 wins, but I see a team that's a little less than you do. So that's just personal interpretation. But what worries me and what should really worry the Met fans here is, and I'm going to go back to what I said to start the show, it doesn't really seem like they care. And I know that they do on some level. I'm not saying that they just punch in the clock. Did we win? Did we lose? It doesn't matter. Up 10, down 10. I'm not trying to disrespect them in that way, but I'm certainly not. But there is for some people, winning is oxygen. And, the great teams and the great players have that. And for years now, I've heard, certainly the last year or so, more so, it's gotten louder, that Lindor is the captain. Well, then why isn't the C on his chest? And why isn't he, more importantly, leading this team out of the depth and the plunge that they've taken from the ocean? He got hit less. Okay. He's not hitting. He's laughing, like jovial on the bait, like when you're losing. It's a horrendous optic, and I'm not putting this all at his doorstep. But if you want to be the man, because it's not going to be Soto who's going to be a leader. He's the man with the stick. If you want to be the leader to have everybody follow you, then you got to start comporting yourself differently on a baseball field and start sending the signal that you're disgusted with losing. And that's one thing that I see with Lindor. I know he wants to win, but it doesn't seem like he hates losing.
Yeah, I disagree with the hate losing, want to win stuff, or care. What I think is happening is that they aren't acknowledging their reality. So now maybe it's a different way of saying what you were saying. In their minds, they're far better than what the results are showing. And yet they've yet to acknowledge that. Even Mendoza, we're a good team. We're a good team.
Been saying for 2 months he's been saying this to us.
Well, and then Brandon,
we got the players. We're good.
Brandon
we're good.
Nimmo, right, Brandon Nimmo. Nobody wants to play us in the postseason.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
I know. Make sure you get there, Brandon.
Lindor, everything's still right there. Like, it's all the same messaging. It's not, in my mind, the reality of the situation messaging. They need somebody to go in there and say, hey, guy, like, if I'm Mendoza, my message to them is like, guys, I don't know what you think is going on here. What's happening? This is unacceptable. You could think you're good, and I still do believe in this team, but the way you're playing is unacceptable here. This can't continue. If you think you're better than you are, you're going to find yourself outside of the post. Like, somebody needs to wake them up. Again, flip the table, yell at somebody, whatever you got to do. Call them out. You're soft. You're weak. How do you go down 25 straight outs after scoring 4 runs in the first inning?
Oh, my God.
That's pathetic. Like, what are we doing here? So stop cowering to the pressure. Wake up. So to me, it's a lack of acknowledging the reality, maybe not wanting to face their reality head on because they're afraid of the reality, which is that they're getting dangerously close to being on the outside looking in. I can't say that I don't believe that they care, because I do believe that the majority of the players do care. They just can't figure out their way out of this mess.
Well, listen, we can all play amateur psychologists, and that's what, you and I do on some level a lot on the radio when we try to diagnose what's up with our teams here. I don't know exactly who's right, who's wrong. What I know is this. The Mets look, in my interpretation, the Mets do not look as if they're putting up any outward signs of wanting to fight out of this. And that is just, in the sporting sense, reprehensible and unacceptable. And you want some evidence? I'm going to give it to you, all right? So you just get you get your nose kicked to the side and your teeth down your throat for 3 games against the Phillies. You finally show a speck of fight. Right? You score 4. And then, by the way, another Mendoza mistake. You could disagree. That's fine. Pulling Peterson. Dopey move. Wrong move.
I do disagree.
Okay. I got you. Just a wrong move, right? So you now, of course, the lead's gone, and now you got to fight back. You're down 2-6-4 in the last inning. Here's the at-bats you get. This is a team that's fighting. Juan Soto, 3 pitch. I know the closer's nasty, but the last pitch is up at his helmet. 1, 2, 3, out. You're in the middle of your order. You're not down 2 runs and you have 7, 8, 9 coming up. You pretty much have the sticks that you want. All right. And then you have Pete, who misses a knuckle curve, granted a nasty one. I wouldn't want to have to hit that thing by 2 feet, almost as bad as Alvarez did earlier in the series.
Agreed.
All right. It was awful. And then you've got Vientos, strike 1, strike 2, strike 3, good night, 4 games, broom. And it was a check swing. And you want to tell me, whether it's you or anybody that thinks that this team is still fighting, you are nuts. They are not fighting.
So you're saying you think that they've quit?
I think that whatever words you want to use, I think they're accepting their fate.
No, I just
they look soft.
Yeah, I disagree.
And I said 2 months ago, Sal, I said 2 months ago, I don't think this team has any character. And I'm not seeing an ounce of it right now.
Yeah, I mean, they got 15 games left to prove it. I just think that they got beat. To me, I wouldn't look at the 9th inning with Duran, although that was bad. Look at what they did after Luzardo, after they scored 4 runs. How do you not get on base for 25 straight guys? Like, that is embarrassing. BT at Sal, the fan, our friends at Town Fair Tire remind you that at Town Fair Tire, you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. Jeff is in Oceanside starting us off. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, guys. Good morning. How you doing, guys, today?
Good.
What's up, Jeff?
All right. You guys know I call. I'm a big Mets fan. I've never seen anything like that in my life. They got perfect games after the first inning. Perfect games after the first inning.
After scoring 4 runs.
It only happened 20.
After scoring 4 runs in the first inning.
Game, but after the first inning, they got perfect games. It's ridiculous. And BT, you called it. Yes, I think they care about winning, but I don't think they care about losing. You're right. Lindor's laughing. They're interacting with the other team on the bases.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it. I don't want to see that. I want them to feel like I feel.
Well,
yeah, I get it. And now the one thing, and Jeff, thanks for the call. I really hear what he says there. He wants them to feel like he feels. I think we all want that on that fandom level for sure. that's not always realistic. I want to be fair to the situation. I promise that, it does hurt them because they're the ones who are being embarrassed and they're the ones who put the work in. So again, I'm not trying to disrespect them and say they don't want to win or don't want to compete, although I'm not seeing a lot of fight right now. I stand by what I said before with those at-bats, which were pitiful, but it doesn't seem like they are resistant to losing. It's a fine line. Everybody wants to win. Every player wants to feel the adulation of the fans and the radio shows and the clicks and all the other good stuff that comes with doing well. But it takes a special group to disdain losing. And I don't think this group does.
I know, but that's to me, that's just an odd,
Why? It's an odd what? Like an odd read?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they've won the majority of the games that they've played this year, number one. They're when you're losing 6 in a row, you look awful. They look like a dead team walking because they're in the midst of a losing streak, a 6-game losing streak. To say that they don't care about winning.
Well, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
I said they don't show a disdain for losing. There's a fine line.
You said it feels like they don't care or show a disdain for losing. I don't know what, I don't.
Meaning that they lose it. It doesn't seem like it really bothers them, Sal.
I mean, look, ultimately.
Did those at-bats look competitive in the last inning?
No, what about the last inning from the first inning on?
No, I know, but those are you
from
guys.
the second inning
that's
on.
That's 2, 3, 4. If you're going to make a run, that's the spot. You lost 3 straight games. Go up there. Those were almost Alvarez at bats.
But they were bad at bat. Alonso especially bad at bat. I get it. But I didn't take from that they don't care if they win or not. I think they're in a major rut. They've been embarrassed so far. They're playing horrible baseball, obviously. I don't know if I can say that they don't care about it. Now, do they care to the level of fans? Absolutely not. No way. They go home. They got their millions of dollars and whatever. They're looking forward to the offseason and postseason. Some maybe want to play in the postseason. Some are like, all right, well, once the season's over, let's go on vacation. That's just the reality of any professional team or athlete.
Well, listen, the reason why I say what I say is because the evidence is overwhelming at this point. It's not like, if the Mets were rolling up into this point and say they were 2 games behind the Phillies going into the series, right? And they lose 4 straight. Even if it was as ugly as it was for these 4, I'm not going to get on the air and say what I said about the disdain for losing or whatever, everything that I said, which again, alone. The words are out there, tweet it, digital, get on it, whatever. Attribute the quote to me. I don't care. I stand by it because that's what I see. I don't see a team with a pulse. But I wouldn't say that if it was a small sample. It has been 60 to 70% of the season. So to me, at that point, you are who you are. And it's up to them to show us, or at least for me, to show me that I'm wrong, not for me to make excuses or contextualize why they stink.
BT and Sal on the Fan. When we come back, we have a special announcement to make that involves the station. So stay tuned for that on the other side.